It is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Time is going by so fast. It's already 3:38 and yeah, headed to the gym, get my energy level up. I had a good sleep last night. Oh my god. I'm gonna look up the video that I played because usually I avoid noise when I'm sleeping, but I found one video that doesn't make that much noise, and honestly I feel amazing. Ooh. I stopped at Costco for some wings. Oh yeah, I have rice at home. I'll go eat that and then I'll be good for the night. She gave me some barbecue sauce. Later on when I get home, I'm gonna douse all of them in this barbecue sauce. And then I'll be a happy camper. So before I go into the gym, this is the serious part of our conversation. I obviously practice physical health and health, food health, all sorts of health things. But when it came to like mindfulness, meditation, and all things, consciousness, awareness, and awakening, I used to think that I had that stuff on like some level, like obviously to some capacity. I don't know how many of you are exposed to just reading books and listening to gurus and having spiritual teachings from all of these notable people from around the world. And mine have always been in, because I don't usually read books or the full books. It's either I get the summary of a book, or I watch a YouTube video, or I just look up whoever the name is, what they wrote, and what their teachings are about. And when it comes to that, I have found so much delight in having to live a fulfilling and like life of enlightenment, and how to tap into your subconsciousness through so many different mediums. And a lot of it has nothing to do with this part might sound weird, but because most of the teaching is of self, that way it can be a good reflection to others. And so back in the day when I would learn these things, I thought, if I'm the best version of myself, therefore I'll show up for others and either teach them or just be a guide to having them be the best versions of themselves. And then in the same way they teach, like, you're not in charge or in control of anyone's happiness. So I used to have a hard time balancing what I was learning and what I was practicing, because I thought I was learning to be great in order for others to be great too. But I got lost in the middle where it's like, I'm not there to make their life better. I'm just there to be the light in their life. And I'm pretty sure the reason why I ended up with a lot of mental problems, just starting from, the underlying things from when we were children, a lot of that, the only control we have over now is just having to tap into it and unpack. But then there's the other side, being that we live literally in a first world country where there's so much knowledge about all of these things, because there are people that come from places where they've never even had a fraction of the things that we know when it comes to psychology and all things about physiology, and even talking about philosophers. A lot of people have never experienced these things. So I find myself, like, first of all, extremely blessed and lucky, and just to have the education to be aware. And now that I've gone through, I would say, the last 3 years of and then deaths, and then relationships, and it's like, why am I back on square one? Out of everything I learned, I would have thought that I would be better by now at navigating myself and the inner self. But as I've learned in the past week about triggers, is that even though I work so hard to move through life in this flow state, which is why I had a magnetism type of I guess attraction, or other people were attracted to it, because when I was at my happiest, I was always looking for greater and better things in life to maintain that happiness. And maybe that's why the self-awareness that I had, others could probably read it and they were attracted to it. Because I used to question myself as to why a lot of people were drawn to me. And I still question it sometimes. And maybe not recently, because I haven't been the best version of me that I keep preaching to be, because I'm literally starting from square one. That's what it feels like. But when it came to, for instance, like having to deal with the death, when a person passes, once they're gone, there's zero ways of getting them back. Zero. Unless miraculously they come back. I don't know, like I would have loved for that to happen, but it's too late now. And through that, I think everything I taught myself before all fell apart. And everything that I tried afterwards just felt forced. You guys can be my therapist right now. I don't know if I was forcing to be the good me that I used to be before. I don't know if I was forcing grief for it to get over and done with. I don't know if I was so fearful of like another death. Like, I don't know. I was just going through so many emotions, and I had to learn the best way of getting, they call it moving forward in grief sessions. They don't say like getting, or I don't even know the thing. They just say moving forward. So I had to learn like the best ways of moving forward. That way I could, become alive again. So life went on, and life kept happening. Mistakes happened, and relationships were broken. Others were built. And so back to the trigger thing, where maybe in a way I matured too quickly on a nurturing side of things, because that's all I knew. On the self-nurture part, I grew in like a year, because in my grade 12th year, I felt like I had learned so much. Like I was just learning from every freaking, like you could name any magazine that would have an article about like self. Back then, this was like 2011, 2012. They didn't have like all these gurus out there. It was always just the real gurus, not these new Instagram gurus. So Sadhguru, there was Eckhart Lot. I don't even know how to say his name. He's some German guy. I listened to him. There were, who else was there? Peterson. Obviously Steve Harvey. Like, there were so many people. I would just have endless, and even like in books at the library, whatever I would read had to do with like just being a better you. And athletes, like when they would speak about like how to get better in your performances, it was always about being a better me. And I noticed, like I said before, it would magnetize the amount of people that would just be drawn to me. And when I'm going through the things I'm going through right now, I wish I had that old me back inside my heart right now. Because I think the other thing that adolescence does, because of like, hormones and growth, is that we're growing so fast to a point where certain things don't attach. And I'm not sure if by them not attaching, some of them just get suppressed. But the old me never really worried too much. And I never really cared so much. And when it came to drama and people's problems, it was just like they would come and go. And somebody told me that certain problems are like letting water run down a duck's back, because it's like, don't let it doesn't penetrate in the feathers, it just keeps running. So I used to live by that. And back then it was just, don't let anything get to you. Don't let anything get to you. And I wouldn't. And I was such a strong teenager, because maybe it's because I was young and I didn't really have that much of a life yet in an adult world. So I took whatever was happening and knew I had to be somewhere else. But as an adult, I'm like, I reflect more and I think about things more and I'm all emotional. And again, if this is the other part of adulthood that I was missing or that I didn't know existed, I am living it, you guys. I am living it, and it's been hard. Like, it's a reality check that I never saw coming. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know. I wish in a way that before the pandemic, I had even continued with all the teachings that I had. But at the same time, I've always gone through, whether it's videos or, like I said, listening to other people. And I didn't read the Bible that much, to be honest. I try to only follow and listen to successful people. I don't like listening to people who are below me. I don't know how to put it. Like, if you're not someone I'd want to be like, I don't feel like I have to listen to them. But there are a lot of broken people out there who somehow I am drawn to, which is so stupid, because being an empath sucks when you don't know how to regulate your own freaking emotions. And I've become a freaking victim to my own level of empathy through the love that I thought I was learning. I thought I was learning that loving people meant accepting them for who they are. I've always known that love was unconditional. And then it's like people just continue to be rude and ignorant, and they themselves were not even progressing in their own personal lives. And I went from, like I said, when I was 18 to 19, I learned almost everything I need to know about adults, and I didn't want to be anything like them, especially toxic adults. And a lot of them, they just lack a consciousness that maybe I was awakening and they just didn't have it. Or some of them, again, the education. If the education is not there, we can't blame people for acting a certain way, but we can only blame, I guess, the level of consciousness that they're in. Because how can I put it? Like, I always talk about waves. So imagine, like, you have one line and then it comes up and up and up. There's some people who are just flatlining, and there are others who have peaks and we have lows, peaks and lows. We can't always be peaking and peaking, but there's always lows and those peaking. And for some people, they're just flat. And I felt like as a teenager, I must have grown way too fast to recognize BS and wanted nothing to do with it as I got older, because it was always the adults around me that were just so negative, and I didn't understand why or how, like, people can be like this. So I truly worked hard to get away from them, and I think that's why I've had a really good, happy last 10 years. Because I tapped into that so quickly, and I was like, I am not going to be around toxic people. And it felt great. It felt great to get away from that life. So then, this story about all of this month and everything will continue. But I'm only saying all this because unlike before where we knew we'd become adults, life will just keep going. Now that I'm an adult, I've been an adult since, as they say, since you're 18, but really, I keep learning over and over and over that, yes, it's okay to, I guess, you don't have to forget your past. You don't have to forget anything that happened to you. It's okay to remember it and to not be a victim to it. And I guess I tried so hard for so many years not to be a victim to my previous life, because I was always growing into whatever life that I was creating. And by trying so hard not to be a victim to that life, I never got enough help even talking about it, because all I knew was we just keep moving forward. We just keep moving forward. But back then, before this whole exodus of like, or what do you call it? I guess before the whole thing of mental health this and mental health that, like, we didn't have this back when I was in high school. So it was always like, if you're lucky that you had a good leadership teacher that would help you with, like, you know, books and philosophy and some quotes, they would throw them in there, then you would know certain things. But for me, everything that I thought I knew about self-progression, I knew it as a young teenager with a young teenage mind. And then time has gone by where I learned it through different stages of my life. And then now, as a grown-ass adult, it's just another chapter. So yeah, last night I put on a meditating sound that had a certain level of gigahertz. And then I went to bed, and it was like, I only played it for an hour. And I put the autoplay off. That way, if it stops, then my phone doesn't have to play the whole night. And then I slept for the whole entire 7 hours plus. I didn't wake up during the night. And by the time I got up, I swear I am not lying to the internet or to you, my viewer, I woke up with like a different level of enlightenment and motivation. Like, I don't know what happened during that night, even though I had a dream that my brother went to jail, but that's besides the point. But I literally woke up like feeling different. And this is only like day one of that difference. And throughout the day, obviously, I've been emotional, and I'm obviously watching therapy videos. And on top of that, I try to apply for the BetterHelp app. I feel like I'm just going to go back to my YouTube videos, because I do not have $300 a month for therapy. Like, I don't know. I'll put it aside when I feel like the time is right. But as of right now, I'm going through a lot of self-learning, and I want to get past at least the first 30 days of it. And then after that, I'll see where I'll go. But as of right now, I'll just leave things the way they are. Like, I cannot afford $300 a month for therapy. And I don't know what they're going to tell me in those classes that's not already on the internet. Like, so that's why I just keep profusely searching for things, because I believe that I can find a lot of this information out there. But it's obviously not the same, because in therapy, you're talking to like the actual person, not just watching them talk at you. I'll figure it out. As of right now, I'm just going to go to the gym. This video ended up being, oh my God, it's already 18 minutes of me talking. Okay. That was a long rant. If you found value in it, good. If you didn't, it's whatever. But I just wanted to put it out there in the world that today, February 21st, last night I had good sleep. Today, I was okay. Today, I was emotional. Today, I am doing what I can to be me again, or to be a newer me, because that's where we're headed. Elevating ourselves so that we can reach a higher spiritual being that we're meant to be through whatever means necessary. Stay blessed. Bye.